Friends, I'm gonna need all of us to start expecting a lot more from our news content creators, journalists, and reporters. Now, I know I have made my fair share of videos about Under the Desk News, and I think I've made my feelings about their content and their work pretty clear. When they finally made a video about the amount of journalists that have been killed in Gaza, somebody commented this. Thank you for this. I wish you did more videos about Palestine. To which Under the Desk News responded, I'm not a foreign correspondent or an expert on the issue. The folks you need to go to for reporting are folks like AJ and citizen journalists like Bison. Did you guys get that? That little trickaroo there? This is something that elites do often. It's a trick that they do when they don't actually want to talk about something. They don't want to take a stance on a controversial issue, or they don't want to admit what their position is because it might be upsetting to some of the people that they work for. And that is to feign ignorance or neutrality on an issue that they absolutely should be talking about in their field and then shifting the burden on others. Do you notice the framing of this comment? It's like a scarcity framing. Like there's not enough room in the inn for everybody to talk about the genocide in Gaza. Are there only so many slots allowed in the club for people to talk about it? Like, of course you should be following the journalists on the ground in Gaza like Bison and Motaz, but why is it all on their shoulders to carry every single thing that needs to be talked about? No, the more people that talk about this, the better. The more it is mainstreamed in the United States, the better. Why are you encouraging people to let them stand alone? This is a tactic that I see white people use a lot when they don't actually want to talk about something that affects like black people or people of color or oppressed people. They will dodge talking about an issue that is very important, not just to the black people and people of color, but for white people to understand as well. And what they'll do is they'll hide behind people of color and go, oh, no, I don't want to center myself. Okay, I'm going to be a good ally and be quiet. It's made to sound like you're centering the voices of the unheard. Sounds like you're a white person that's taking a step back, listening. You know, I'm holding space for you, or whatever buzzwords they're using right now. No, bro, as a white journalist and reporter with a mainstream platform with massive reach, that would mainstream it into the American consciousness. By refusing to talk about this, you further marginalize the Palestinians and their plight. And please do not give me that I'm not a foreign correspondent tap dance. No one is asking you to be an expert in everything that's happening on the globe at all times. You're an American political commentator and journalist. And what's happening in Gaza is very much an American story. Because you know as well as I do that none of this is possible without the backing of the United States. There is no genocide, there is no apartheid, there is no violent occupation of the West Bank. The brutal siege on the Palestinian people is only possible thanks to U.S. taxpayer money. They can't fund shit without us. And a lot of Americans don't even know that their taxpayer money goes to fund their military. Man, it would be really great if we had a well-known news personality that could speak to these issues and bring them into the mainstream. The reality is they just don't want to talk about it. Whether or not they don't want to talk about it because they've got business interests and it's a very unpopular financial position to take, or maybe they're afraid of white backlash. I just made a video about this last night, the wrath of the Arctics. People like Under the Desk News, they have the DNC CIA State Department position. And so instead of just being honest enough to come out and say, this is my position and this is why I'm not going to talk about it, instead of just fucking keeping it real like that, they go, oh, no, just, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert. Go to AJ Plus. Rubbish. Why shouldn't they go to you? Bro, it says on your website. Under the Desk News started out as a series expanding news and events in a nutshell and quickly became Gen Z and Millennials' go-to source for news. It is one thing to just be like a regular person on this app that's just creating content, but you don't get to have a whole ass website where you say that you're the go-to news source for Gen Z and Millennials, and then when somebody asks you to cover the fucking news, you turn around and go, yeah! You want me to cover the news? That's not my area of expertise, good sir. Within just a few years of starting the account, they've built a loyal following of over 3 million subscribers who tune in daily to get, I guess, kind of the news that they're just comfortable talking about, the news the DNC allows. This commenter was not bullying, not harassing, not all the shit that TikTok always takes down just because someone disagrees with something. She was mad respectful. She's saying, like, you have a large platform and we expect you, the people that I just mentioned, the 3 million people that trust you and follow you, they expect and deserve the whole picture. And I will remind you, Under the Desk News, that if you're going to be on your website bragging about the amount of followers that have put their trust in you, then you have a responsibility as a self-proclaimed journalist and reporter to give them the news of the day. That includes the genocide in Gaza, the continued occupation and the violence happening in the occupied West Bank, and the over 100 journalists that have been killed in Gaza since this started. And then they're out here mocking the girl who commented commented about the fact that she has a journalism degree. Like, what in the low flame gaslight is this? This commenter is, as she puts, politely asking you to post more about the most major fucking thing happening in the world right now. And your excuse is, I'm not a foreign correspondent, I'm not the expert in the field. As I pointed out in the video that I made about Sam Altman and OpenAI, you're not an AI expert either, and that didn't stop you from talking about that. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Just to be clear, this is not hate toward Under the Desk News. I know I'm yelling, but this is not to send any hate their way. This is just pointing out that you, as a journalist, as a reporter, have a responsibility to your massive audience to A, be fucking respectful to them, and also give them the truth and the news. Because if they are coming to you and putting their trust in you to give them all the information that they need, you are failing if you are not talking about the biggest fucking story in the world right now. It is all of our responsibility to be talking about what's happening in Gaza. It is all of our responsibility, no matter how big or small our platform is. I don't care if you make content here and you've got 200 followers. It is all of our responsibility to be bringing awareness and shedding light on the genocide that is happening to the Palestinian people. And being white and hiding behind Palestinian people to say, oh no, I'm just gonna let them over there talk about the genocide, and not using your power, your massive platform, and your white privilege to draw attention to the oppression of the Palestinians, then you are failing. As all my favorite gays on this app say, do better.